we're going to take a look at a big picture scenario here before we make further videos on whether we're bullish or bearish, because what we've been talking about is the SPX, this 20-month moving average. We're right on it. We're getting ready to close out the month. We have 2 more trading days of the month, so we really have to key in on next week. So what's really important is how this month closes. It's really firming up. It's trying to get above that. It's above it right now. Needs to close above it, and then we need some follow through starting or for the next monthly candle. Now, on our bullish scenario, after this wave 3, 4 ends, this could be an ending diagonal where this is a 1, 2, and these are all in 3 waves. These are 5 3-way series. So 2, 3, that's smaller than 1, 4, that's smaller than 2, and then a 5 to eke out a new top. Now this scenario is becoming much more valid, and that's because of the Nasdaq. So let's go over to the Nasdaq and see what's happening here. We look at the big picture of the Nasdaq, and it's just much more bullish. The situation with the 20-month moving average, we're well above it. We're pushing off. We pushed it off the 8. It looks like it's leading in that scenario. Now, if this was counted as this is the wave 4, and now we are on a 1, 2 to end off this 5 here, I don't think that the Nasdaq, how powerful it is right now, would be an ending diagonal. So I feel as if the Nasdaq would drag the market higher, and that's what causes the ending diagonals, because the loss of momentum. Well, I think that the Nasdaq, we really have to key in on what's happening here, because if the Nasdaq continues to be strong, then it's going to drag the whole market, and this thing is going to have a whole wave 3 here, where this is a 1, 2, a very large wave 3, 4, and 5 to end a pattern, another degree. And you can call it AI. There's so many things that you can talk about why, but the important part is the technical standing. We had this bottom of 2009, and this looks like a strong wave 3, and we came right back to support of this channel. So the top of the channel would be the scenario where way above we have much higher to go if this is a blow off top, and we're gonna have a whole nother wave series up. So we're looking to try to get this bullish crossover. We don't have anything. It's right at a neutral stance, but it looks like it wants to do it. We on the RSI only came down to the 40 area before making a reversal, and that's very bullish in a bull market. That's pretty much where you should go down to on the RSI. This is a scenario where you have a wave 2, which is very sharp, and then a shallow wave 4. So this wave 4 could be over, and we're actually in a 1, 2, and then we're in an impulsive wave 3. That's the most bullish scenario out there, in that it's going to drag the SPX or S&P 500 with it. Now, let's dig in just a little bit further into the Nasdaq, since we're going to key in on it and find out what's happening. So let's go to the weekly time frame. And on the weekly, we have a little bit of action here happening. You see, we have our higher highs, higher lows. We got above this real key resistance right here at the 13,600. So that really started to make a bullish scenario more likely. But we're at a resistance right here. If this is just a large wedge, a reversal, and this, believe me, this is a very valid scenario, that this is a just a bull market rally, then we're right at a resistance zone now. So that zone will probably come up all the way up to about 15,000 area. So you have kind of a zone for about another 500 point, 600 point zone before that reversal could happen. But we're we're looking at if we get above this wedge and get back below it, that will be considered a fake break. If you notice the weekly time frame, you're kind of at resistance here when it comes to that downtrend for the all-time highs that happen here for divergence. Well, we're at that resistance there. We're also starting to get overbought on the weekly at the 70 area. In this bear market, that should be some sort of a resistance kind of zone there. If we drag this all the way over, it looks like, again, we're kind of in this downtrend. This might be the end of it here, or we just continue to get more overbought conditions because it's so strong, and that would call out for that bullish scenario. So let's go down to the daily. And before I go to the daily, I think that just so I can give you the big picture on the Elliott wave for the bullish scenario, let's go to the alternate. This would be a wave one. Ooh, pull back a little bit. This is a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is one I have it, but this easily could be a 1, 2, and we continue much higher as a much more bullish scenario, but this would be the more conservative, that we have one more 5-wave series to the upside, and that's not where it would necessarily be. It could be much higher than that after this plays out. So I just want to show you that, but let's go down to the daily time frame. Daily trend is our friend. Check out some things on here. You see the resistance zone that we're back here. We're right at it now, and then we have a little bit higher where the standard deviation move from the point of control. That's where that is, around the 15,000. So we're right at that zone to where this could be a reversal for a bear market situation, and even for the bull market, if it needs to rest and get a good pullback from there, that would be. But if you look at the RSI, we're still kind of triangulating in there. The MACD, we're still triangulating in there. So we'd probably need to see a little bit more breakout from this triangle that's been forming. That triangle is much more bullish on the price action, but on the momentum, it's just kind of moving sideways, looking for a direction. And if we go to let's do the bearish scenario first. And this would be what we're looking for, an A, and then a B, because we're right at that 62% retracement from the all-time highs to the low. That's a very typical place to have a wave 2 or a B in a zigzag. So for the Nasdaq, this is such a big area, a pivot to watch. Now we have this as a WXY, or a double zigzag, for this wave B from A to B, and then you'd want to see 100% or 127% move from the top of A to the bottom of A, starting from this wave B here. So you should see a big rejection from here if this is a bear market. Now, if it's just pulling back, we should see a lot of these areas, zones hold, because if we go to and again, I think we're talking about the 8,000 area would be a good target. I think I have it here. Yeah, about the 8,000 would be 100% range from A to B, and then from B to C would be about that 8,000 area. So that's the bear scenario. We're right at, this is a good time to put on a nice little straddle, or if you're aggressive like I am, then I'm going to start playing to the downside on this one and take profits as you go. If you go to the alternate situation, I mean, this thing should be picking up steam, which it appears to be. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and we're in this minor wave 3. So we should get just a shallow pullback or some sort of time-consuming pullback similar to this. A time-consuming pullback, a flat pattern, a triangle for wave 4, and again higher, and make that 618 retracement, make that support. And then you should have another sort of pullback to for this degree here for 4-5. So we should be working our way up to a higher and break the highs here, at least test the highs. But I imagine this being a wave 5, we'd go above the wave 3. And if not, this is still a good scenario to be, after all these play out, for this to be a wave 1 and then pull back to wave 2 and then continue higher. So it really tough situation. And that's the whole point of this. And also, this is the 382 retracement from the bottom of wave 2 up to the top of wave 3. That's a perfect scenario for a wave 4. Okay, so we really have to pay attention. The S&P is just stuck right now. It's not in a scenario where we can call it bullish or bearish at this point. It can turn around. It's all up to the Nasdaq. That's the whole point of this video. It's up to whatever this Nasdaq does. So any further videos coming up next week, we're going to start really keying in on the Nasdaq and watching these counts here and seeing if we get a rejection off of that 618 retracement, and from there see if we break any trend lines as well. So we'll be keeping our eye on, that's too cluttered. We'll be keeping our eye on this big trend line for this so-called ascending triangle and see if we hold. And once that starts to break down, if it does, then we have this huge, this is a massive area. This trend line is all the way from 2009. So that would be the key zone. We have the point of control back here at the 12,000. We'll keep that in mind. Just we'll do these videos coming up, not very often, because it's just right now it's just grinding to the upside. And so we'll continue to do these videos when we see any breakthroughs. Okay, thanks for joining us here at Options Center. Don't forget to like the video. Thanks for joining us.